What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Varach Report. It's time to talk about the Toronto Raptors yet once again because they have made another roster move, adding another guard to their roster. So I'm going to be discussing this guard. I'm also going to be talking about their one roster spot left, and I'm going to be discussing whether Jeff Doughton gets it or not. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you wish to hit the subscribe button as well, that'd be very much appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel, and the shout out for today's video goes out to Ugly Cookies. So Ugly Cookies, thank you so much for supporting this channel to your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now, we know the Raptors just recently signed Ron Harper Jr. to a two-way contract. They also signed Marquise Noel to a two-way contract, of course, earlier this offseason as well. And we got more news that they finally filled out their third two-way roster spot, two-way contract, and this was being reported by Adrian Wojnarowski. That free agent guard, Javon Freeman-Liberty, has agreed on a two-way contract with the Toronto Raptors. His agent, Luke and Keith Glass, tell ESPN, Liberty Freeman averaged 21 points for the Bulls in the Vegas Summer League. Now, we know a player that the Bulls have, a restricted free agent by the name of Aya Dosunmu. The Raptors seem to be interested, but the Bulls did re-sign him yesterday to a 3-year contract, and it's no surprise the Raptors decided to move on very quickly because they also got another guard in Javon Freeman-Liberty as well. And I also want to quickly bring up this tweet here. I found really interesting. It seemed like a lot of teams were offering him a contract, but he seemed to turn that down, and he seemed to want to be with the Raptors, which is always very exciting to see when you get players that want to come to Toronto, because we know there's that narrative about, different guys, different players, American players not wanting to come to Toronto. But it was being reported by Daniel Greenberg that 3 NBA teams offered Chicago's own Javon Freeman-Liberty two-way deals, but he turned those deals down and ended up signing with the Toronto Raptors. His agent Luke and Keith Glass tell me the Bulls didn't make an offer. Now, I find this quite interesting because I was reading a lot of comments online, and it seemed like a lot of Bulls fans were actually quite upset that they let Javon go as well. So, of course, they almost sound like Raptors fans, how we complain about on Twitter about, front office's lack of moves or who they've made moves for. So, very interesting. Obviously, seems like the Bulls are very high on him, but given their guard depth, it didn't seem like they had enough room for him or playing time as well. But taking a look at his G League statistics, it's important to kind of go through the stats to give you an idea of what he's capable of doing. And in the G League, he played about 17 games last season, 30 minutes, averaged 18.4 points, and shot 49.8% from the field. Again, very impressive for a 6'4" guard. And on top of that, he's a good three-point shooter, which the Raptors desperately need, 37.6%. Free throw percentages are respectable at 79.2%. Average 5.7 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 1.4 steals a game, and 0.7 blocks for a 6'4" guard isn't too shabby either. And I quickly want to touch upon his summer league statistics as well. So as you see there, between the last summer league and this summer league, a huge difference in not only point production, but his minutes as well. He went from, doubling his minutes to almost tripling the amount of points he scored. He averaged 15 points, before, and this summer league, he averaged 29 points, and he made the most of it, averaging 21.2 points and shot, again, very exceptionally well from the field goal at 49.3% yet again. And his three-point percentage, look at that, 46% on 5.2 three-point attempts per game. Very impressive. And rebounds, assists, he was getting a lot of those. Assists, 4.4 assists is always nice to see. Rebounds, 4.6 rebounds a game. So again, really nice to see. And 1 block a game, right? So again, I know it's only 5 games. I'm not going to go too crazy on that, but it's still very impressive. Now, in terms of what his game is like, I think it's very important to talk when we discuss, different guys, especially particularly guys we are not familiar with or come out of college or either in the G League. Oftentimes what we do is we watch their highlights. We see that they're able to score, rebound, and assist, but we don't focus on some of the other, I wouldn't want to say the other, but we don't focus on some of the details. We look at guys that average 20 points or 15 points, we get really excited. But what we don't focus on is how they're able to score. And for someone like Javon, it's very important to note that he is able to score in multiple ways. He's able to pull up for threes. He's a pretty good catch and shoot three-point shooter as well, which is exciting. And he's got this amazing ability to just accelerate like a roadrunner and just attack the basket. And he's got such quick lightning speed as well. And he's a really, really intriguing prospect. I want to remind everyone, he's 23 years old. You get a combo guard, 6'4", provides a lot of size, and actually does very well with his length as well. When he's attacking the basket, He uses every bit of his length to attack the basket and he'll finish those layups as well. Just really uses long arms there to finish at the basket. So that's exciting, right? So it's exciting to see what he can do. Again, he's going to be one of those players that's not going to necessarily come in and average 10 12 points off the bench. He's not going to be one of those, but he's very intriguing in the sense that you bring him on the roster, you should give him an opportunity, and you let him see, you let him showcase what he's able to do on the Raptors. I think he could be one of the most underrated pickups in this offseason for the Raptors. I know they've made some really nice signings in Jalen McDaniels as well, who I really like. And as much excited as I was for Marquise Noel, I'm not going to lie. This is someone like Javon Freeman-Liberty, who is going to be very, very intriguing on the Raptors roster. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. He's a diamond in the rough. He legitimately is. He rebounds really well. In his last season in college, he averaged 7 rebounds a game. For a 6'4" guard to be able to do that just tells you about his athletic ability and speed as well. I think he's going to be a nice signing. Again, I can't speak too much on his defense because let's be honest, most of us do not watch G League, and when we're watching highlights, it doesn't necessarily always highlight the defensive aspect of a player's game unless he's getting a lot of steals and blocks, and he has gotten some very impressive blocks as well. So again, I'm really liking this signing. I think he could do wonders with the Raptors. He's also one of those guys that if he were to play with someone like a Precious Achiuwa, he's very good at finding those big men for those lobs. So again, I think obviously you could, argue he'd be good with Christian Koloko as well, but having someone like a Precious Achiuwa there, someone who's got an amazing athletic ability and can kind of just jump everywhere, and it's also got the speed as well to work with him and pick and rolls would be exciting. It'd be exciting. Again, I don't want to get too hyped up on this and, get you guys too riled up based on what I saw on his game, but it seems like he's very good at understanding where his teammates are, finding the right passes, making the right passes. Again, he's not the best playmaker. I'm not going to sit here and act like he is, but he's definitely an underrated playmaker that makes the right passes and makes very important reads when players are cutting. He's also able to cut himself, able to make some cuts himself as well. So again, very interesting signing. Is going to be one of those. Obviously we lost Delano Bent. We lost Justin Champagny. But when you talk about some of the past players that the Raptors had, and I'm going to give you a very nice comparison here. This almost reminds me of what all of us fans were hoping Terrence Davis would become. So it's almost like that. When I watch some of his highlights, I'm not saying his game resembles Terrence Davis necessarily, but in terms of his acceleration, how he's able to shoot the ball, catch and shoot, he's able to, pull up for threes as well. And it seems like he has the ability. There's some potential for his ability to be able to shot create as well. So it's exciting to have young players that can do so much. And it's exciting. He's got the athletic ability to be a good defensive guard as well. And again, can't speak too much on his defensive ability as well. But let's talk about the Raptors' final roster spot because they have one roster spot open. And let's talk about Jeff Doughton as well. Now that the Toronto Raptors have filled out all of the 3 two-way contracts, it's important to note that they have one final roster spot open, and we constantly, have to keep reminding fans that Masai did say that he's going to bring Jeff Doughton back. He's going to be part of the Raptors' future as well. So I think what's very likely to happen with that final roster spot is something we have seen time and time again with the Toronto Raptors, which is, they bring in 2 or 3 guys and have them fight for the last roster spot. The likelihood that Jeff Doughton gets it is very high. I think, even with the signing of Javon Freeman-Liberty, it's very likely that the Raptors do bring him in as well. But it'll be very interesting. Obviously, the Raptors are probably likely to have someone like, how we saw with DJ Wilson last year, bring in a couple of guys, have them fight for the final roster spot. But it's very interesting. Obviously, I'm not saying some of the guys we have signed in Javon Freeman-Liberty or even Marquise Noel are guys that are going to be backup guards. But it's important to note, the Raptors got Dennis Schroeder. They've also got obviously Scotty Barnes, who's going to play the point guard position as well. They got Malachi Flynn, who they need to find minutes, and then now they got these 2 guys in Marquise and Javon. You need to give them some minutes. Let's be honest. You don't just want to leave them in the G League, which what we did with Delano Banton as well. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see these guys under Darko's system. I'm personally very excited, guys. I'm really high on Javon based on what I saw. I don't want to get, again, I don't want the excitement to build too highly, but I like what I see from him. He could be a very interesting prospect depending on the opportunities and the minutes he gets as well. And you could even make the argument like a lot of what he does is what a lot of us fans were hoping if Jeff Doughton did get minutes is what we saw from him. So again, I really like this. I'm very intrigued to hear your thoughts on this signing, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And let's get to our trivia question for today. And the trivia question for today is, how many years did Javon Freeman-Liberty play college basketball? Was it A1? Was it B2? Was it C4 or was it D3? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for always supporting this channel. To your likes and comments, it's always appreciated. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.